everyone, welcome back. Today this video will guide you and I am also bringing you an idea to paint with coffee powder and chocolate powder too. I believe that going to be inspired you and create your own artwork in beauty of inspiration. I am going to grind this chocolate into a fine powder first. I prepared from coconut shell using angle brush size 4 and add some coffee powder and chocolate powder for our painting. Then I am taking a small piece of sponge too. Now spray some water on palette near to coffee powder and the chocolate powder to create the different shades of tone. It gives natural brown shades. Mix more coffee for dark shade. Add water for the light shade. Just time start with the coffee powder first. Take a little darker shade and apply top on the canvas board for the first layer. Then slowly come little by little come downwards from side to side. Now down here I am spraying little water spread like this for the lighter shade. The second coat from side to side. Now spread the colors together by using fourth brush stroke. Then wash my brush to create moon. Just come right side here. Remove the water consistency little by little to create a round shape with brush. Now our beautiful sky background and moon is ready. Here I am coming here for creating moon. When the paint still wet, we can lift off colors by blotting. Slightly damp brush or a tissue paper or sponge absorb it paint. And next step going to create the distance mountain. Then going to create the distance mountain. Going to create the outline of mountain. Just holding the brush vertically. Create like from here onwards to create the shape. The sharp edge of this brush allow for precise application uniformity. Making thinner outline and lessen pressure on brush while doing this. I am going to this edge and spread out the color just downwards and drag the color slowly and holding the brush horizontally, keeping the strokes in soft way. No harsh details, just clean the brush and remove the dark shade, then excess of watercolor from here like this. Just to do it as I am doing, continue the same process rest of the remaining also. Now going to create the next outline of mountain. Just to create, we have to give the little dark shade than the previous one. Here I am sharing few beautiful tips and techniques. I am adding some drops of water activated chocolate powder to form a fine paste to paint. Just slowly add water until the desired consistency is reached. Always trying layering for dark shades and dry brush for texture to create wet on wet for small lines and blotting for highlighting. Just to create the coffee pigment with coffee powder with water slowly, gently mix well until you achieve the desired strength. The thickness pigment will give the darker the painting. You have to create first two different shades of coffee, light and dark. Step 1 for the light shade, 2 ratio of water means just add 1 ratio of coffee for the light shade. Step 2 for the dark shade, 2 ratio of coffee means just add 1 ratio of water for this dark shade. Here just I am removing excess of colors with tissue paper and now highlighting the outline to here too. Now continue to create the tree. Going to create the tree with charcoal powder. Add some drops of water on it and mix well using angle brush. Start to create the trunk of tree. Holding vertically, just start beginning, giving less pressure on brush to make thinner trunk. Same thing for the thicker trunk, just give little more pressure on the brush while doing bottom of the trunk. Now here at the bottom, just to create the grass using flip short strokes, then creating the branches also. And just to create the branches and vary the directions on it. Always handle the angled brush thin edge of the brush to paint along the edge to give you more control. Just spreading the paint smoothly, slowly and gently. Bring it to the edge at an angle and start to paint down the edge. Here, load the brush with enough copy pigment to create a detail, blending and doing brush strokes to achieve your desired effect. Always try to experiment with different pressure and adjust the pressure to create the very effect of details. Holding the brush near the bristles for small, no need it for if the long handle brush. Finally, using sponge, picking charcoal powder using tapping techniques to create using the leaves on it. Finally, for the highlighting, I am using angle brush to create the tiny leaves this edge. This small mountain sitting behind of this tree. Creating the leaves all around, just I am using the dabbing techniques, applying the charcoal in short quick strokes with repeatedly touches by using sponge to create the leaves around it. Building up layer of charcoal, the look of leaves by varying the pressure and holding the sponge. Just here I am taking some quantity of coffee powder, brush angle size 4 and small sponge. I am using sponge and taking little coffee powder, mix with some water, mix well together for the lighter shade and apply here center of the watercolor sheet from right side to side. From right side to left side using dabbing techniques to create the distance tree first, and this is the first layer. I didn't touch the sky, I left just like with white space. Once completing the first layer, again I am adding some coffee powder with the previous color for the darkish shade. Then create the next layer. Create from the bottom of the first layer. Here I am adding more darkish for the shadows. Then going to creating the path, just making a little big curve. Start from bottom of this distance tree at the end corner of the canvas sheet, extreme bottom here, just to drag it like this. Another one curve here too. Then both sides creating base of the land part. This is very lighter shade, just a corner of their both sides, making a little darkish for the grass and shadows too. Now I am using angle brush size 4 with the lighter shade and keep the angle brush vertically just to create the trunk of the tree first, then creating the branches in the very directions and create the small trees also around the distance tree. Next, highlighting and creating treetops vegetation of the trees, just dabbing around all the directions of branches. First, I am using sponge for this dabbing techniques to create the leaves. Next, I am using angle brush to create the highlighting. Always trying the shades and highlighting for adding more water or less water just to adjust the concentration of the coffee pigment. The darker shade to create the depth and shadows, just continue adding coffee powder to mixture and apply as you need. Varying color of tone equal playing the mode. Varying color of tone is related to lightness and darkness. Here the lighter shade of the coffee powder pigment and the darker shade of the coffee powder pigment are different tones of the same color. And playing the mode tone always playing the multiple role in establishing the mode and atmosphere of painting. Even in this painting, in the distance tree at the top added the lightest tone, at the bottom the shadows and the depth we added the dark tone. Here sky is the lightest tone, that is the foreground, trees or land could be darker, creating the sense of a depth and distance too. Always trying the shades and highlighting for adding more water or less water just to adjust the concentration of the coffee pigment. The darker shade to create the depth and shadows, just continue adding coffee powder to mixture and apply as you need. Varying color of tone equal playing the mode. Varying color of tone is related to lightness and darkness. Here the lighter shade of the coffee powder pigment and the darker shade of the coffee powder pigment are different tones of the same color. And playing the mode tone always playing the multiple role in establishing the mode and atmosphere of painting. Even in this painting, in the distance tree at the top added the lightest tone, at the bottom the shadows and the depth we added the dark tone. Here sky is the lightest tone, that is the foreground, trees or land could be darker, creating the sense of a depth and distance too. We can lift off colors by blotting, slightly damp brush or a tissue paper or sponge absorb with paint. Always keep concentration control. Watercolor paint ratio is important. Avoid too much water in watercolor painting for mixing. Adding more water can lead to muddy colors and lead to stuck and controlled blending. So good one that little water can result in straight brush strokes. Here create the cup of coffee. I am going to start with a little dark consistency and just create the flat oval shape to the bottom of the cup and fill into the base. Just start with a thin coat at the beginning. Next I am going to make an outline of little small oval shape of the cup than the previous. I am going to leave out the thin curve, just bring it down and drag the pigment downwards just to fill in it. I am just painting the cup first. Always handle the angled brush thin edge of the brush to paint along the edge to give you more control. Just spreading the paint smoothly, slowly and gently. Bring it to the edge at an angle and start to paint down the edge. Here, load the brush with enough copy pigment to create detail, blending and doing brush strokes to achieve your desired effect. Always try to experiment with different pressure and adjust the pressure to create the very effect of details. Holding the brush near the bristles for small, no need for if the long handle brush. Whenever experiment with brush strokes according to the brush sizes, shades and different pressure on brush while detailing in painting. This will make and guide you to achieve the desired look. It's good In watercolor painting, to lay down your light colors first, then work towards the dark color. Always be patient to achieve your desired artwork, no rush. Using this lift-up techniques, trying the correction to avoid mistakes. So for this, a clean damp brushes to lift the colors to make correction. For this example, in this distance tree, the top added the lightest tone and the bottom the shadows, and the depth we added the dark tone. The second one, sky is the lightest tone, that is the foreground trees and grass land would be the darker, creating a sense of depth and distance. Tone refers lightness or darkness of the colors, essentially the concept of value creating. If you have never tried coffee painting before, just now this is your right and perfect time to make your own artwork with coffee powder. Just all you need is coffee water and a brush. Just to try different way, try the experiment with different shades. It's your space and your freedom to create your own. There is no pressure, no rules for the perfection, and just play your multiple role in your space and your artwork, just the way where the creativity takes you. Just bring out what's in your thought and grab a brush to start painting and share your inspiration and passion to your artwork. It's the eco-friendly. Always be patient to take your time to create a detailed and your desired texture. Always try to experiment with this coffee powder painting to create unique shades and tones. We can use here different brush strokes and techniques too to create this artwork and texture too. Always depending on the thickness of the pigment, just to give sufficient time for the first coat to dry before applying the second coat.